Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is our first content video. Super excited to be bringing it to you. Like and subscribe. We'll be bringing you content every Friday at 1. Okay, so let's get started. Today we're talking about reverse dieting. So when you hear about reverse dieting, I would think, hey, this sounds pretty cool. It's the opposite of dieting, and who really enjoys dieting? So basically, reverse dieting is the process an individual would take to bring their calories back up, their maintenance level of calories, which is BMR plus their activity level, and doing this in a slow, methodical way so that you don't put on a ton of extra adipose tissue, put you back where you didn't want to be to begin with, the whole reason you started dieting. So to start, we have to have some base level information. We have to understand what our BMR, basal metabolic rate, is and how to calculate that. BMR is how many calories our body is going to need to maintain our current body weight if it was doing nothing all day. So if I was laying in bed all day doing absolutely nothing, the amount of calories I would need to ingest to maintain my body weight and normal bodily functions is what would be calculated as my BMR. My maintenance level of calories would be that BMR plus my activity levels, because it depends on what I'm doing, how many calories I'm expanding. You all still with me? Good. This can be calculated through a number of different calculators you can find online. Personally, I like the one that factors in body fat measurement is, because if not, they're just going by your age and the average body fat percentage of a population, and that might not apply to you. I'm going to put a link in the description down below. It's the Ketch-McCarty method. So this factors in what your body fat is when figuring out what your BMR is going. To be able to use the Ketch-McCarty method, you're going to have to know what your body fat is. So how do we figure that out? Well, there's a number of different methods out there. Bioimpedance handheld. These are cheap. You can pick them up. Walmart, Amazon, and then there's going to be a floor scale that can do the same deal. It's sending a current through your body to figure out what your body fat and lean muscle tissue is. Not the greatest of quality, but if you're doing it consistently at the same time, you can track improvements. While it might not give you your exact body fat percentage, it's going to give you a good way to see if you're making progress or not. Next level up, I'd say something we have at O2 Wellness. It's an in-body scale. It's going to give you a nice print off. Again, it's doing bioimpedance. Next would be having somebody that's certified in doing skin fold calipers. Now, there's not a lot of these people out there, and they have to be very experienced. If you know somebody that does it well, has done it for a long time, I implore you to use that service. Well, next, we also have hydrostatic testing. That's a university setting type device that's gonna see how much water you displace. You're on a scale underwater, a whole deal that most people are never gonna get to explore. I wouldn't worry about that one. Last but not least, DEXA scan. Now there's been a little bit of controversy the last couple of years talking about whether or not DEXA scans are completely accurate. I like them. You get a picture of your full skeletal muscle mass, your bones, you can see everything. It's pretty cool. The availability of these is pretty low. I would go with one of the first three. Main thing you want to be doing is doing it at the same time every day, same hydration level, first thing in the morning when you wake up, once you empty your bladder. So it's nice to have one at home. Once we have figured out what our body fat is, we can plug that into the calculator that I linked below. This is something you would do at the outset of your diet to be able to figure out how to get yourself into a caloric deficit. So what you're gonna wanna do is track your food for 1 to 2 weeks, see how much food you're eating, plot that against what your estimated BMR. You're tracking your food every day, your weight stayed constant, taking in the calories that was recommended to you in the calculator above. That's gonna be exactly what your BMR plus activity is. If you're going into a deficit, you're gonna take away from there. In years gone by, this was a much harder thing to do, because I remember when I first started counting calories and checking my macros, I had to buy a book back in high school because the internet didn't really exist. Dating myself here. Nowadays, anytime you wanna check out any food that you want, you just go to Google search bar and you can figure it out from there. Even better, there are apps now available. It has a food journaling option that you can just plug all your foods in. And even cooler, you can scan barcodes off of food. You just got to put in the quantity. We got all that stuff done. So now that I've gotten this huge background information piece out of the way, we can actually start to talk about what reverse dieting is and how do you do it. So you're gonna be looking at employing reverse dieting when you've been in a caloric deficit for an extended period of time, like 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks and beyond. Some people will be a contest diet, getting ready for a trip or a certain event, a wedding, something that they wanna get ready for. But you've been doing this for such a long time, you've either hit your goal or you're starting to feel pretty off, run down. Strength might be waning, cranky, because you've been pushing your body for so many weeks that, you know what, eventually your body just wants to stay at homeostasis and it's going to start slowing your metabolism down. It's not what you want. You're at a point where you're not making any more progress, you're feeling terrible, it's time to get back up to where your maintenance calories should be. How do we do this? We're gonna look back at that calculation that we started with, where our BMR plus activity level was, start adding calories in, but you're not gonna do it all at once. It's not gonna be that 800 calorie deficit and I'm gonna just throw those calories back in the first week. What would happen if you did this? You're gonna start putting on fat way quicker than you would have put it on to begin with. And why is that? Because our bodies have started to adjust to the amount of calories we were having when we were in the deficit. At this point, what we want to do is slowly and incrementally add our calories back in. As a rule of thumb, what I try to do is add back in every week about 10% of their current caloric intake is. Let's say somebody was at, say, 1,500 calories. What I would do, I would add in 150 calories the first week. Then the most important part is you're gonna be monitoring. You're gonna be checking to see what is happening with your body week to week. For most people, you're gonna see a slow, steady rise in muscle tissue, a little bit of fat, feel a lot better. You're gonna be on top of the world again. You're gonna get energy back. People are gonna gain strength. These are all the reasons that make sense that you want to reverse diet and get back up to your maintenance calories or above. Because when you're at that point, it's much easier to gain muscle tissue. The next time we start dieting, we're gonna be able to eat that much more food because higher lean body mass requires a larger amount of calories to sustain. But there's also the possibility that you're gonna have some GI tract problems where you're not digesting food properly. You wanna keep an eye out for this, make sure your fiber intake is up, make sure that your water intake is there. Another thing you don't wanna do is cut cardio out altogether. You wanna slowly, incrementally step your cardio down week by week to give your body a chance to readjust the lower caloric expenditure you'll be putting out every day as you lower your cardio. One caveat, if you are a competitor or a physique competitor, or somebody that has gotten their body fat down into single digits, really, really low, I want to see them gain more fat. I want to see them get some fat back on to a healthy level, help hormone support, how they feel, how they can train. Somebody like that, I might put them back up to maintenance level because it wouldn't be realistic to just add back in 150 calories every week. So again, to get back up to maintenance calories, it's all gonna depend on the individual, but generally, I'd like to see someone back at their maintenance calorie level within 6 to 10 weeks, have them sitting in a good spot where they feel healthy, they feel strong, they're in a spot where they can put on lean muscle tissue easily, and they're not hating their lives basically anymore. So I hope this has been educational for a lot of you out there. If you have any questions or comments, leave it down below. We'll be taking a look all the time. Look forward to seeing you next week.